Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your host, Zakira and
Mikey.
And we talked about on the previous episode that we hit 10K followers on Instagram.
Yes, thank you very much, guys.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. And then we also hit over 500,000 views within the last 30 days.
On Instagram.
Yep. Yes, so that was really good too.
I'll give you an updated number if you want.
Yeah, let's get that updated number.
Updated number as of today, the last 30 days, because it shows right there, 586,000. So we're trending up over the last 30 days. Lots of views. That's just on the Instagram.
For sure. And I know it goes crazy on Facebook too, because...
You know what's funny is recently, it hasn't gone as... Instagram's been popping.
Yeah.
And Facebook is not. We have millions of views on Facebook. On certain things. But now it's Instagram's time to shine, I guess.
Yeah, stuff is changing every day.
You got to get in that algorithm, you know? You got to stay in that algorithm.
I'm so over. I started just posting stuff on TikTok this week because I had, you know what it was? I was thinking, I was like, okay, I have over 17,000 followers on Instagram. I kind of been stuck there for a minute. So I'm trying to figure out, what is this Instagram algorithm doing? Like, what do I need to do to continue to grow? But my TikTok is like, I haven't put any love or energy into it. So I'm at like 100 followers. So my goal is to just post every day. It could be something small. I don't want to be like doing perfect videos. I just want to do like home organization stuff or like wellness stuff or just regular personal things that I can post on TikTok. I want to post every day and see how I can build my TikTok to start getting more brand collaborations, not just on Instagram, but with TikTok too. But to that point, there's like a process of growing things. Like, you're just not going to wake up one day and you're going to have 1 million followers. Or, I mean, I'm sure somebody maybe went to sleep one day and woke up to a viral video with 1 million followers. But
depending on what celebrity they hooked up with.
Yeah, depending on, true. But it's like something so small if you just keep at it. Like my one video I just posted, not the last post, but a couple posts before my last post. I literally took a 3-second video that I recorded in my car like months ago, put some words on it and put an audio on it, and it's almost at 1 million views. Like,
really?
Yes, it's barely touching 900,000, and I'm getting mentions every day. Every single day, at least 5 mentions on the video. So it's like, I put no thought into that. It took me 5 seconds to record it. It took me 1 minute to throw some text on it and put an audio on it, posted it, and now it's going crazy. So it's like staying consistent, and I know it works if you work it. So it's the same with the way we've been building the podcast. I don't think that we've been as intentional with building the podcast, and that's the reason why we don't have sponsorships right now, or we're not touring with the podcast, because when you put work into it, things will happen. And so that's why between this year and next year, really pushing the podcast so that it's more profitable for us, I think is important. But I love where we started. Like, I was showing Trey maybe a couple of weeks ago on YouTube, like the very first podcast, like even the podcast where my wig was looking a little crooked because I had a wig on, and me and Mikey were actually sitting side by side. It wasn't like we had the mics, but we were on like a long table and we were sitting side by side. I don't think I've ever seen anyone sit side by side in a podcast.
Probably not.
No, we were like making up our own thing. And so I love that where we started, we might have took like a little hiatus, but we got back on it and we continue to do the podcast.
Yeah. Also the Pandy messed us up because we weren't filming in person.
True.
I think hold on one second.
Oh, yeah.
I think we recorded one episode virtually or
and
two. It was
the quality was trash.
The quality's okay, but it's just not the same.
It was basura.
Yeah. Zakira's practice some Spanish trying to get down to the DR this year.
Actually, I am trying to get down to the DR.
They're so good. Yeah. Consistency. I still think there's a lot we can learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a class. I mentioned this before. I'm going to take a podcasting class about how to be successful. Mm-hmm. I have like this special email that I use that I can give access to other people. So I'll give you access to. We'll take it together.
Yeah.
I think it also, and I think both of us are realizing it this year, it also depends on what you have going on in your life.
Absolutely.
So I feel like you were going down one road, and I think your road's a lot more clear these days.
Yeah.
I was going down a bunch of super highways.
Yeah.
I slowed those boys down.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Kind of got rid of a lot of extra stuff, taking my time.
Yeah.
Like in our last episode, talk about rebuilding things. Part of my rebuilding process is putting the right people in place for every aspect to get this thing to grow.
Yep.
So that way I can kind of see what's going on and make changes.
Yeah. And that's where I learned that from you. Like after the conversation we had, if it wasn't last week, the week before, I literally took that back and I went on Upwork and I started finding people that I can interview. And I'm getting ready to offload some stuff, spend time getting my tutorial section together. That way I can alleviate some of the small mundane tasks that I'm doing that are literally driving me insane.
Yeah, it's just you don't have the time.
Yeah.
So one thing I think we need for the podcast too is one of the assistants I hire. I also think they need to be somewhat of a podcast manager.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a better system in place as far as, the videos going out, following up with guests, and there's a lot.
For sure.
Think, we could sit down and spend a lot of time and figure it out.
Yeah.
Or I could probably buy a good podcasting class that lays all this stuff out.
Right.
A couple $100 later, I'm like, boom, I can implement it fast.
Yeah.
You can too.
Yeah.
We know that it's not an implementation problem. It's just like, where's the organization? And sometimes when you have a lot of other things going on, the organization part is going to be key.
Yeah.
And I don't mind spending money on education. Like I have a budget of $1,000 a month for online courses and other stuff.
Love that.
I will spend money on this stuff because it saves me so much time. And the return on investment of educating and investing in yourself is the best investment you can make.
True. I love that. Absolutely love it. So from the beginning, we started the podcast. We didn't really have any knowledge about what we were doing with podcasting was still really new. It was very new. So when we started podcasting, we were kind of like winging it. But, we did the podcast festival or summit. We were reading different things, reading blogs, books, all of the things, but we didn't really go full-fledged. One thing that I do love that we did is, and when I say consistent, I don't mean like we never stopped recording. I mean consistent, like we kept going.
Right.
Like even if we had a 2-month hiatus or a 5-month hiatus, we always got back to it and it got better. Like when we started podcasting, again, we talked about this, like the room we were in, the stuff that we used, the equipment we had. We didn't have a podcast producer. Like it wasn't a fancy room. It just looked very dull. The quality of the cameras were not the best, but
actually,
we kept going.
Did you know the first, I think it was nine episodes, we didn't even videotape it. It was just audio.
It was just audio.
It was audio, like video recording your podcast. We were so early in this, like videotaping it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, people weren't recording the podcast and putting on YouTube. So after about episode 9 or 10.
That's when we started recording.
Right.
Yes. And we did have, we had a podcast person that was like doing the cameras and stuff. We did have that. But it wasn't like set up how we have it set up now.
We're actually going to, I built this studio, it's probably about a year ago now. Okay.
I need to have you come build these walls.
I know, those walls are nice. Now, here's the thing, Zakir, what I've been learning, because I spent about $1,000 on a YouTube course. Now, this is March, and I'm all in because of the tax season. Really getting a lot of stuff done. So I've had to put my YouTube channel, Hair Business Blueprint, to the side. I'm going to get back to that starting in April. But one of the key things I learned, and I was going in about microphones, about the lighting, about angles, everything was, so we have decent lighting. So this light is pretty good and these lights are okay. But if you saw the light I have at my house,
really,
the difference in the lighting is unreal.
Oh, wow.
It's not that much more expensive than these, and the reason I watched this one YouTube video, and this is like part of I spent hundreds of hours in the last year, hundreds of hours on every aspect of stuff I want to learn.
Yeah.
He really broke it down of why you need this particular light if you have room. And I'm thinking, podcast studio, yeah, I got plenty of room in here. Why the heck do I have this small one? No, like this light, when it's game changer.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm real careful of our budget right now, because I'm working on like increasing our ad spend and other stuff. But when you see these new lights in here, you're going to be like, and you see what it does, you're going to be like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it. So there's still, even though we're in today, right, and we've been doing the podcast for a long time, continually trying to upgrade everything. Our mics are good. We have these low profile stands, Joe Rogan style. We have the beautiful table. We got sound deadening everywhere. Yeah. So we're pretty good there. We got amazing cameras and lenses. Right. So then it's like, what's that next thing? But lighting is very important. So having this upgraded lighting, I think is going to make a nice difference here in the studio. Yeah. Which this year, we'll have it this year. Yeah, great backdrop, everything.
A crab?
It is a crab.
Why have I never noticed that? A gold crab.
So this looks like this is kind of, the claws are kind of big, and someone broke my claw.
Oh, no.
Dolly. This looks like a Maryland crab. So if you're from Maryland, like me, you'll know that looks like a Maryland blue crab. Some of the best crabs in the world.
You know, I have to go to Maryland just to get some crab legs.
No, it's not crab. It's the whole crab.
Oh, the whole crab.
So you open it up and you do the legs, and then you open up inside, and it's got some of the best crab meat in the world for sure, with some Old Bay seasoning.
I've heard that the Maryland is like known for their seafood.
It's mostly the crabs.
Baltimore. Oh, the crabs.
I'd stay away from Baltimore. I go to the coast. So you can go anywhere near Chesapeake Bay. Okay. So actually, if you're going to go to Maryland, go to Annapolis is really nice. Or Annapolis. You could go to, it's not real nice. It's Ocean City, Maryland. Okay. And I go up there every 3-4 months because my grandmother lives in Fenwick Island next door in Delaware. It's not easy to get to. I love you, Grandma, but it's easier for me to get to Paris, France than it is
your house in Delaware. No way.
Oh, Zakira, it's way easier.
Really?
My sister just went to Barcelona. It's easier to get to Barcelona.
Oh my God.
There's no easy way to get there.
What airport is it?
Okay, so you have a couple options. I know we're off topic, guys.
Yeah, we are, but this is interesting.
It's easier to get to Paris than my grandmother's in Delaware from Atlanta. The biggest airport.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. You have basically 3 options as far as airports. You can fly into BWI. In Baltimore. Right. But then you have to cross the Bay Bridge, which in the summertime is a disaster. And it's 2.5, maybe 3 hours, depending on traffic. Okay. So you fly up.
Okay.
So you figure you go to the airport. You're on a 2-hour flight. Then you have to get the rental car. BWI rental car situation is horrible. You got to get on the bus, 15-minute drive. You know, it's not
to get to the rental. Oh, okay.
There's no one ever working there. It'll take 20 minutes to get your car, or they don't have cars. You got to wait for someone to return a car every time. Then you got to drive the drive.
3 hours.
3 hours. It takes forever. Okay. Or you can fly to the airport closest, which is Salisbury. No direct flight from Atlanta. So then you have to fly American Airlines. You got to fly Atlanta to Charlotte or Atlanta to Philly, have a layover, pray that you make your connecting flight, which we didn't last time, and it took 19 hours to get there.
Oh, my God.
19 hours, guys. I almost could have walked to Delaware. You can do that, but you have the layover in Charlotte. Then you get on this little puddle jumper, which is those tiny little planes, and you fly up to Salisbury. This is my new route. That's a little bit easier, but still, it's the planes, trains, and automobiles to get there. And then drive, there. Or you can fly into Philadelphia direct, and then it's 2.5 hours south. But then you could have traffic and whole hustle. It's just not easy, guys. It's just not easy.
But to get to Paris, you have to...
Paris, I just get on a direct flight overnight.
I'm
chilling on the plane.
Yeah, that's
wake
true.
Up, hey, Paris, oui, give me a croissant.
That is true. Dang, that's crazy.
It's a lot.
I want to go back to Paris, but it's not like at the top of my list because there's still some other places I want to get to. Paris, I wasn't like overly impressed with.
Paris, we were just there for Jennifer's wedding last year in September. And I was so in Paris, you sit on the roadside and you just have your little coffee. I mean, if you can watch and you can see how big my coffee mug. They give these little tiny coffee things. You're chocolate croissant. You're watching people go by. Then I realized I can only spend so much time watching people watching in Paris. Yeah. We've seen all the tourist attractions. I've forced myself to the top of the Eiffel Tower to get myself right back down because I'm afraid of heights. Even though I hyped myself up, I'm not afraid of heights anymore. I still am.
Yeah.
Paris is cool. It's expensive, but I think there's I think now the new trend for travel is go to places less traveled.
Yes, because I'm going on vacation to get away from people. I don't want to be somewhere and I can see people that I see here at home.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you.
That's why.
I just want to see me.
So, I was just in Thailand and I was in Bangkok, which is the most visited city in the world. But we took a side trip to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. About hour, 45 minutes, Vietnam Airways, Delta partner. It's great.
Nice.
Lot less tourists there. I mean, considerably
And
less.
It's nice out there, right?
It's so nice.
Yeah. Koh Phi Phi is how far from?
Well, that from Bangkok, that's not easy to get to. You got to go fly into Bangkok. You fly hour and 45 minutes to Phuket. Then you got to take a car to the coast. Then you got to get on a ferry. If the water is, wavy and you get seasick, good luck. Then you got to take a couple hours. I think it's on the ferry. You can take a speedboat. It's faster, but take the ferry. It's a hike.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So back to what we were talking about, because we got sidetracked on traveling, which I absolutely love to do.
Yeah, I love a travel podcast.
Yeah, we definitely. So we were talking about expanding the podcast and changes that we've made in the podcast. So one of the big changes was equipment. That was the first thing. I think that if you're wanting to start a hair business podcast, you want it to look good because people are going to be looking at the
But you know what's more important than looking good?
Sounding good.
Sounding good.
Yeah, so when I say equipment, I mean like the mics, the cameras, the lights. But of course, you don't have to have this big, huge setup with the big screens over here and all the things, but definitely mics. Which mics are these? Are these Rode?
These are maybe Rode or Sennheiser.
Okay.
But you can get pretty affordable Rode mics.
Yeah.
You can get...
they actually have a podcast set.
Podcast
that's like
set.
a few $100s on, it might be Best Buy, and it comes with like the board, it comes with the mics, it comes with the card that you need, all the things. It doesn't come with a camera and all that, but it comes with what you would need to actually record. And then you can use your iPhone, honestly. Your iPhone.
Start with that.
Yeah, on either cinematic or not cinematic, but you can start with your phone. You don't need like big fancy cameras. We started with, was it a Canon?
Yeah, one camera.
And then it grew to, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras.
4 cameras based on, we use 3 for this and then 4 if we have a guest.
Right, yeah.
And now, now it's a lot easier because podcasting became such a big thing. They do have the whole kits. Like before, it was just kind of piecing things together.
Yeah.
Now they're like, hey, for this amount of money, you can get this kit. You can spend more and get this kit. It's going to be a little better, blah, blah, blah. But, you can go the kit route. I usually say, unless you're consistent with it for a little while, start with your iPhone.
Yeah.
Don't spend the money on the cameras because the cameras get really expensive. The mics are not expensive. Cameras, and not just the body, it's the lenses.
Yeah.
And then you could always find someone on Upwork. There's tons of people now that have podcast editing services. So they'll edit your whole video.
Yep.
And then they'll chop it up into reels. So after we record this, me and Zakir are pretty much done. We have a whole system. It gets put on all the social media platforms. Everything gets set up. It's all edited. It goes through. We use Spotify. It used to be Anchor. But now Spotify.
They bought Anchor, right?
Yeah, they bought Anchor. They put they broadcast it to, all the different podcast channels, and that's free.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a bad deal.
No, I also think that if you're going to start a hair business podcast or beauty industry podcast, we try to stay on subject with what we're doing. So the guests that we have are all beauty related. It may not always be hair, but it's definitely makeup. It's
or business, like marketing.
Or business, because even if you have a hair business, you need marketing or lawyers, trademark lawyers, insurance people, but we try to make it to where it's all applicable to the hair business. So I would say that's one thing that we haven't strayed away from. Like even our beginning guests, they all either had hair brands, beauty brands, or were in the business arena of marketing or helping you and sharing their story around marketing their businesses or products and services that they offer. So I would recommend sticking with, if you're doing a hair business podcast, you don't need to have anyone on there talking about non-toxic home products. Like
the riches are in the niches too.
Yeah.
So if you try to have a podcast that's so broad, it's very hard to capture a captivating audience for that.
Yeah, true. And I think that another thing that we did was to actually hire someone to do like VA outsourcing.
Yes.
At one point we had someone outsourcing the guests, right? Didn't we have someone outsourcing guests, or they never?
That didn't work. We need to get it set up better.
Yeah, for sure. But another thing that we did do was we had someone doing all of our editing, even from the beginning. We weren't editing the videos ourselves. We had someone editing the videos, putting them up on YouTube, writing the descriptions, all of those things. So that was kind of hands off. You can hire someone overseas to do that for little to nothing.
And you can also use AI now. So you can use Opus. If you search, I think it's opus.ai, or if you search like Opus Clip, it can take your long format video and cut it up into short form videos.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive, very fast. It'll have the words popping up, everything done. Super easy.
Yeah, I love that. What else have we done with podcasting that we kind of stuck with over the years?
I really think for any podcast to be successful, you have to think of a few things. We have a lot of episodes where it's just you and I.
Right.
But a lot of episodes where we see a lot of growth is within the guests.
Absolutely.
What we need to do is do a better job of tapping into that guest audience and having something set up once the guest is on. This is going to be the date.
And we just talked about that, doing that,
right.
Making sure
so,
we get it structured.
What I do like is Instagram makes it a lot easier now because you can invite someone to collab.
Yeah.
And that's been a game changer for us because they can invite to collab and it'll be on everybody's channel and everyone can benefit from it.
True.
Especially now since Hair Biz Radio has 10,000 followers. We can boost up your following too a little bit.
Definitely.
It's not just about following, right?
Right.
Followers.
It's about engagement too. They don't matter.
It doesn't matter because all the algorithms have moved to the TikTok model.
Yeah.
It matters, but it's not as important. It's moved to the TikTok model where it's just flooding out content.
Yeah, because I'm like scrolling and I see stuff from a week ago and I'm like, what in the heck?
Yeah. So it's changed a lot.
It has. Yeah. I think that it's important to just start. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, a hair business podcast or a beauty business podcast, I think you should just start. Like, it doesn't have to be so fancy. Like, you can record it in your living room, set up a nice corner where you may have like a plant or a chair or something. You can do it in your kitchen if you have a nice kitchen. Like, and even if you don't, you could do it literally on a plain white wall and just record. You can always utilize, don't they have like green screens where you can add stuff on like your wall and stuff if you need to? Yeah, so just start. Like, don't think too much about it, because if you think too much about it, you'll think your way out of it. I've done that before where I thought too much about something.
And I forgot what the statistics are. I think 90% of podcasts stop after 10 episodes.
Oh, wow. And we're on episode...
We're maybe 100.
100? Yeah. So yeah, we kept going. We need a celebration. We hit 100 episodes.
Let's count it out before I.
Yeah,
we're close though.
Definitely close for sure.
We're close.
Yeah. What's really important though is, I was telling Mikey, I really want us to get a lot more guests on. Like, I just want guests in the pipeline. Like, hey, every single week we have guests that are scheduled to come on the podcast. So make sure, if we have a lot of podcast episodes, if you have not heard from someone that you're like, dang, why haven't they had this person on the podcast? Please, please, please email us, respond to our YouTube videos.
I got a better way.
Things.
I'm going to create a form.
Okay.
On the Hair Biz Radio Instagram, so you can just click the form.
Oh, I love that.
The link in the bio, and it'll have a form that you can, because it goes to our YouTube page, it goes to our other page, but I'll add another form that is to be a guest.
Yes, to be a guest, and if you want to recommend anyone else to be a guest, fill out that form. That way we can get you scheduled to get on the podcast episode. Now, we don't just interview any and everybody. That's why I love the forum, because, you know, we have to vet you and make sure that you're a good fit for the podcast. So please, please, please send us your recommendations. And also, if it's yourself, send it to us as well.
And we also, at this time, only film in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So what I was thinking of doing is for my Hair Business Blueprint channel, maybe doing that virtually with some other people.
Yeah.
But only, I like this setup, so I want to keep it professional. I think
for sure.
You know, but people come to Atlanta often from all over. So.
Absolutely. And once we get these big sponsors, you could get flued out.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But I love the podcast and the energy we've created kind of around the Hair Biz podcast. We have a lot of people who listen to the podcast, who love the podcast, and it's because of the community that we built doing the podcast. Yeah, so I love that.
What I like about it is Zakira and I have been working together for over a decade.
Yeah.
And she's not within the company anymore, but this also brings us back together every other couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So that way we can stay connected, and it's just a great way for us to stay connected as well.
Yeah, I love that too. Absolutely. So anything else you want to add to?
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key, definitely. So make sure you listen to all the other podcast episodes we have. I think we have podcast episodes. We were just talking about travel. There's a podcast episode where we were talking about utilizing credit cards, like points and stuff for travel, especially if you're a beauty business owner and you buy like bulk products, utilizing your credit cards to get the points and starting to travel and all of those things. We have podcast episodes where we talk about starting your hair business with little to no money, how to brand your hair business, email marketing. We have podcast episodes that cover everything, trademarking, all of the things. So make sure you go back, listen to the episodes. They're not really a lot of fluff in our episodes. You know, we have conversations around it, but we're really giving you good information. So make sure you listen to the episode. If you learned something from the episode, drop us a comment, like something, or a smoke signal, whatever the case may be, just so we know that you're listening, tapped in, and you learned something. So we appreciate everyone who follows us on social, on YouTube, listens and has our podcast saved. We appreciate y'all, and we thank you so much. So thanks for listening to Hair Biz Radio, and we will be back with another episode soon.
Yes, sir. Later.